Hi, I'm Brad Meyer, restaurant critic for Houston Community Newspapers.
And I'm Mark Hader. I'm the fish stick distributor for the Wharton Independent School District.
Well, of course you are. This week, we're going Mexican.
See.
There are more Mexican restaurants than pine trees in Montgomery County.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
Well, more than in Conroe, because they cut down all the trees in Conroe.
Well, yeah, pretty much. They did.
I just thought I'd throw that in.
So where did we go? We went to El Bosque. What does El Bosque mean?
It means the basket. I have
Does
no
it really?
idea what it means.
It
No.
sounded good,
and
though.
we should have looked it up. Better reviewers would have looked it up.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a former educator. You should know these things. Absolutely.
Let me say this, though. This is the El Bosque on 105 West. There's another one on
It's
North
by the
36.
Walmart out 105.
Well, it's not quite that far, but
Well,
yeah,
it's
you're going
on
in
the
the right
way there.
direction.
Absolutely.
Maybe we should talk about the restaurant instead of exactly where it is.
I really don't think so, because I didn't think much of it. What did you
Well,
think?
Brad, why don't you just cut to the...
There's with all, the economy the way it is, and with all the restaurants that are opening up, I think if you're going to be a restaurant operator, you ought to be kind of up on your game a little bit. You ought to be into it. El Bosque, the place is kind of half-hearted. They've got a little painted decor on the wall. The waiters are standing in the corner talking in Spanish, giggling to themselves. They're not overworking and waiting on me.
I didn't have much trouble with the wait staff there. The carpets were very well cleaned. I don't know if you noticed that.
Didn't notice the carpets at all.
And the place looked pretty neat. And let me say this, speaking of positive. Brad, when we sat down, instead of just bringing you the chips and the salsa, we had 2 plates this big of a flour tortilla fried with bean dip and cheese on it. It was the best thing we had. I thought. You remember at the very first?
I remember it. I don't remember it being very good, though. I remember
it was really good. Well, then why didn't you give me yours? You never do.
I'd be more than happy for you to have pretty much anything that was served. I, as usual, had fajitas. I love fajitas. I can't go to a Mexican restaurant that serves fajitas without ordering them.
I like to stick my tongue on that thing when it comes out.
I wish you would, but they were okay. There was nothing special about them. The meat was a little bit chewy. The extras weren't that fresh. The waiters didn't seem to be all that interested in making sure I was overly happy.
No, nor was I, because you got mad at me, Brad. I ordered the tostado, but I had to keep looking because when they came up, we were waiting for someone, if you'll recall. We were sitting there for about 10 minutes, and I had a lot of time to study the menu. And the person never showed up. I'm looking at this menu, and it says Tostado Supreme on one of 18,000 things I could order.
Right.
And I said, and then I looked, and it said Tostado Deluxe on page 8. And I said, what's the difference between Tostado Supreme and Tostado Deluxe? And the waiter boy looked at me and walked away, and then somebody else came.
Which is typical of the service. The waiters don't even know what's available on the menu. The menu has roughly 10,000 items that you can order. I'd be much happier with a menu that had 20 items that the waiter actually knew what he was going to serve and would actually come over, take the order, fill the iced tea glasses, bring me the order, and answer a few simple questions like, hey, what's your best dessert? I broke it down between 2 different things. I think flan and something else that they had available, some fried baked good, some sopapillas or something like that. I kept asking which one's better. They're both the same.
Brad, you are into dessert, and I'm not through with my tostado.
But it's the same thing. The guy doesn't know what it is. He won't give you an opinion. He tells you one set of information. The next guy comes over and tells you something completely different.
Wanted to help.
What
does supreme mean to you?
The exalted ruler, much like you.
Well, it's when you're coming to tostados, it is the best there is.
One would think.
And when I asked him what supreme was, he said, "Oh, that doesn't have beef on it."
Right.
Supreme, the best tostado there is that have beef on it. I said, "What has beef on it?" Deluxe. Deluxe bread is better than Supreme, and that just
that seems like it ought to be the other way around. And that's everything about this restaurant is like that. They're just not paying attention to the details.
Like both.
Well, it's the closest Mexican restaurant, I think, to Montgomery, and that's where a lot of people with money and stature and big boats live.
Yeah.
And if you want Mexican food, hey, go there. I wouldn't be opposed to stopping there again if my car broke down on 105. I'd stop in and use the phone. But I think if they're going to be a Mexican restaurant in this economy, in this location, you need to bring your game up a little bit.
I think so.
I think it has the potential to be a better restaurant, but let's kick the tail of a couple of these waiters and have them actually provide a little bit of service instead of standing in the corner telling jokes to themselves.
Well, Brad, I can't blame the waitstaff for this. I picked up my tostado, and I took a bite, and it exploded.
Right.
It was tostado everywhere. I think
happens everywhere.
The Supreme, or I got the Deluxe. The Deluxe explodes, so be careful of that one if you go there.
Absolutely.
And I got a flour tortilla, but nobody cares. I mean, a flour taco. Everything's... Okay,
Mark
Brad.
is causing chaos in the set here. I think we better leave it.
Let's leave El Bosque.
El Bosque, it has potential. I don't think it's there yet. I'm Brad Meyer, restaurant critic for Houston Community Newspaper.
And let me say this. I think it's got decent food, but it's just not up there. Like you said, it's just, I wouldn't run it down. And I'm Mark Hader. I'm a columnist with the Courier and the Villager. Say goodbye, Brad.
Goodbye, Brad.
Boy, I think you just beat the paper.
I know. They're going to come after me. They're going to come after me.